If then children say that it's justified, then you can probably throw another question at them and say, how would you feel if someday rats became all powerful and developed human traps? So then how would you feel about it? So there can be a talk like that to establish what a rat trap is and how it works. While this is happening, you can also take to class a real rat trap like I have here.
Yes.
So this is what a rat trap looks like, and you can take it to class, and children can see that there's a little hook where you attach cheese or a piece of food, and with any little movement, when the rat tries to go in to get that food, the door closes and it's trapped. So this is what a rat trap looks like.
And we all have done this at home.
Yes, I do believe that some of them are familiar with it. After which we can come to the story that we have today.
Yes.
So the setting of our story is, it takes place in Sweden. It's a country in Europe. It takes us to a Swedish village, the story today. It takes us into a forest also, and to a forge. A forge is a place where a blacksmith works. Okay. And then we come to the theme of the story. Yes. So all the stories written by this person who has written this story, her name is Selma Lagerlöf. All the stories that she has written, they all come with the same universal theme, that there is essential goodness in human beings, and when we appeal to that goodness, when we appeal to that kindness with the kindness within ourselves, it is always awakened.
Yeah.
So that is the theme. Next, we have some characters here.
Yeah.
So
there are many characters in this story.
Yes. So the primary character, the protagonist of the story, is this rat trap seller. Now this man, he makes rat traps using material which he begs for, in stores or in farms. He begs for material and he makes these rat traps and sells them. And still, he doesn't have enough money, so he has to, sometimes beg for money, sometimes he steals. When he gets the opportunity, he steals also.
Okay.
The next character in the story is an old man who is also a crofter. A crofter is somebody who rents his small farm to other people for work. And then we have a master blacksmith and his helper at Romsha Ironworks. Then we have an iron master who owns this Romsha Ironworks. And then we have the ironmaster's daughter, whose name is Edla Wilmanson. Yeah. We don't know anybody else's name in the story except for Edla.
Yeah.
So this is the setting, the theme, and the characters.
So now we will discuss the storyline.
Yes.
What it is about.
The plot, what we could call. So a story essentially, you can sort of divide it into different categories. It would be setting, theme, characters, and plot. Yes. So the plot of the story is that before this plot, I would like to show this picture also. Yes. This is Romsha. It is written differently and it is called Romsha, pronounced Romsha. The little village in Sweden, that is the setting of our story today. It's a picture of that village. Okay. The village has a population of only 306 people even today. Oh. So it's a very small, tiny village, very few people.
Yeah.
Yes. And this is the setting of our story. And now we come to the storyline or the plot. So like I was saying, this is a homeless man who sells rat traps, and because sometimes he doesn't still make enough money, he begs or steals. Because his life is so bleak, because his situation is so sad, he's homeless and he has no money, he's constantly struggling to get food and heat, basics of life. He believes that all of this world is nothing but a big rat trap.
Yes.
And he felt that the world offered riches and comfort exactly as the rat trap offers cheese. And the moment you try and get that, that cheese, or let yourselves be tempted, then everything came to an end.
So you just said that he feels like the world is rat trap. So why he does feel like?
He's embittered by his experiences. Okay. Somebody who is happy and well provided for may not feel that way. It is because he lives in a constant state of deprivation, and he's so bitter towards the world that he doesn't even recognize kindness when he sees it. So he feels that all the world is a rat trap.
Okay.
The world had, of course, never been very kind to him, and therefore it was, it made him happy to think of the world in this way.
Yeah.
So one evening, he has no home, we have repeatedly said that. One evening, he was looking for shelter. He knocks the door of this house, and an old man opens the door and happily gives him shelter because he has neither family nor children, neither wife nor children. He lives alone, and he's very happy to have company. The old man welcomes him into his house, shares his food with this man, the rat trap seller, and not just his food, the old man also shares a lot of information. So he tells him where he used to work, what he does now, how he made money, and surprisingly, very surprisingly, he also tells him that he has 30 kroner stashed away in his house. Now this must have sounded very incredulous to this rat trap seller, that in this small house somewhere there is 30 kroner. So the old man actually goes inside his house and brings this little pouch and shows him the money. And after that, until bedtime, both of these men, they play a game, a card game called Myolis. There is this interesting thing about lessons that come from different cultures. You learn so many new words from their language. Okay. So Myolis is a card game. Can you think Can you think of a card game in our language?
Let me think. I'll take a moment. A flesh card or something like that?
No, a card game, like a proper 52 cards.
Okay.
So any card game. Can you think of any card game? There is an old card game called Chopper, there's another, so there, in different languages, people will still play the same games and they will have different names.
Great.
So,
a Uno card, something like that?
Something like a Uno card, yes. Okay. So the next morning, both of these men left the old man's house. The old man goes to work while this rat trap seller makes it, to his way. Then he comes back, breaks the window near which the money pouch is hanging, and steals the old man's money.
Okay.
And to avoid being caught, he leaves the public highway and he goes into the woods, into the forest.
Okay.
Once inside the forest, he lost his way. He walks on and on and on the entire day, and towards the evening, he realizes it's a December evening, so it's cold and it's dark, and he realizes that after having walked almost an entire day, he's still not very far from where he had started.
Yeah.
This makes him, begin to despair and feel really sad, and and he feels that it is because he stole that man's money that he has now lost his way in the woods, and this forest began to seem like a prison to him from which he'll never be able to escape. Okay. Now he was dead tired, and he had nowhere to go, and the night was closing in upon him, and he was really despairing when he heard hammer strokes from a nearby iron mill. So he understood that if there's an iron mill and there are hammer strokes, of course there are people inside it.
Yes.
So he gathered the last bits of his courage and he started to walk towards this iron mill. He finds that it is called the Romsha Iron Works, and he asks the master blacksmith for shelter.
Okay.
Now the master blacksmith, he's used to seeing such vagabonds, so he allows him to come in without a word. He just allows him to come in, and he's also not very interested in talking. He's so tired. So all he does is he goes inside the iron mill and he goes to sleep in front of the fireplace. Okay. He's so cold and wet from his sojourn in the woods that his clothes have steam coming out of them. So he's in a really bad place right now, but he goes to sleep. Now he lays sleeping in front of the fireplace when he was awakened by the owner of Romsha Iron Works, a rich ironmaster. He comes in and he mistakes this tramp for some old acquaintance. Okay. And he says, "Oh, it's you, Nils Olof." So he takes the name of that other acquaintance that he's mistaking him for, and he wakes him up. Now the tramp knows that he's not Olaf. He knows that. But he plays along and, you know, talks to the ironmaster about how bad days had befallen him. And, you know, feeling the greatest sympathy now, this ironmaster asks the tramp to come to his manor. He has a beautiful big manor and he says, you come with us and celebrate Christmas with us. Bad days have befallen you, but now you've met a friend. So let me take you home with me and we'll celebrate Christmas together. This man knew that he had stolen money and he was running away, and he did not obviously want to be caught. So
still there's no change in his, you know,
his ways.
Yeah.
Yes. He's not. He will learn his lesson probably you know, a little bit into the story. Right now he's just worried about getting caught.
Yes.
So he thinks that if he goes to the city, if he goes to the manor, he could get caught there.
Yes.
And he refuses to go with the ironmaster. The ironmaster pursues a little bit, but then he leaves for the day and he tells the blacksmith, he says, I feel aaj ye aapke paas hi rehna chahte hain, and he leaves him and he goes. The next morning he sends his daughter, Edla, to pursue this man to come home with them.
And the main character, Edla.
Edla is his daughter.
Yeah.
He sends Edla to bring this fellow home with them, with her. So Edla goes and she again requests him to come and celebrate Christmas with them. And now he was so touched by this, you know, this gesture, that he says, I did not know that you would bother with a person like me, miss. It's so kind of you to have come. So when, you know, this is the point where he gives in, where he feels that a lady has now come to invite him. He must not refuse. He goes.
Yeah.
Back at the manor.
Yeah.
Yes, you were saying?
So they are the people who has their kindness. People shows their kindness, so we can change anybody, you know, if show kindness to somebody.
Yes.
So we can change the nature of the person and the circumstances, the situation of the person.
True. You will see a greater development happening because of the kindness that this lady shows to him.
Yeah.
So now once they're back at the manor, now they have this guy to, you know, they get this guy to shower, to get a haircut, to, you know, shave his face. Now he's looking a lot better than he looked when they found him.
Yeah.
But now he's also very instantly recognizable. So the ironmaster recognizes him and he asks him, what is the meaning of this? How dare you cheat me, betray me, or, you know, how dare you lead me into believing that you're my friend?
Yeah.
So he justifies, he says, see, I did not want to come here. It was you and your daughter who pursued me. And I did not say I was Olaf. You mistook me from him. I just played along. And more importantly, he says, today I got tempted by this rat trap of comfort that you offered me. Tomorrow you could get tempted by something bigger, and then you could also fall into a rat trap. So it is merely, you know, my bad time. It could also befall you. So hearing this, the ironmaster started laughing and he said, okay, we are not calling the sheriff. Initially he threatened to call the sheriff. He said, I'll call the sheriff on you. You lied to us. So he said, you know, if you want to call the sheriff, that's another thing, but, you know, it's just a bad day that I was having. So the ironmaster good humoredly, you know, laughed at it and he said, okay, we will not call the sheriff, but you leave my property as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Now, while the ironmaster said, you leave my property as soon as possible, the daughter, Edla, believed that this man deserved one day of kindness in the whole year. So she went to her father and she said, this man has no home, he has no family, he has no way of you know, earning an income. He relies on begging and stealing, not stealing, they didn't know about stealing. He relies on, you know, some means to earn his livelihood, whatever they are, and he has you know, no hope of celebrating Christmas, and we promised him a Christmas. So let us give him the promised Christmas and then he can leave. And at this the father says, oh my God, you preach worse than a pastor. Fine, now that you've you know, pursued me, I will let him stay for one more day. So now this person is invited for Christmas. Edla invites him and he's, you know, made to stay for one more day. So he stays, he eats with them, he celebrates Christmas, and the next morning he's still asleep when the father and the daughter, ironmaster and Edla, they leave for church. When they return, they see that this man is gone, but he has left a few presents for them. So what are those presents? We will just see. The one thing that he's left is this letter that you now see on the screen.
Yeah.
I'm going to read this for you,
Yes.
children. It says, "Honored and noble miss, since you have been so nice to me all day long, as if I was a captain, I want to be nice to you in return, as if I was a real captain.
Yes.
For I do not want you to be embarrassed at this Christmas season by a thief. But you can give back the money to an old man on the roadside who has the money pouch hanging on the window frame as a bait for poor wanderers." This is a very important quote. We will be discussing this in a little bit.
Yeah.
The rat trap, and he also leaves one rat trap for the girl, for Edla. And he says the rat trap is a Christmas present from a rat who would have been caught in this world's rat trap if he had not been raised to captain, because in that way he got power to clear himself. Written with friendship and high regard, Captain von Stahl.
Yeah, so here what I get from this, okay, they made his day full of happiness, kindness, and shows how important he is as a person. So all this made him a changed person. Yeah.
Yes. So Edla's kindness was something that he had never experienced before. Nobody had ever been kind to him, and that is why, like I said at the beginning, he is so bitter towards the world, because nobody has been kind to him. Now, this young girl is the first person who has shown so much kindness and warmth towards him in spite of or because of his circumstances. So he says that it is because you treated me like a captain that I want to behave like a captain.
Yes. Great lines.
I don't believe that he would have left a gift to anybody before this in his life. But here he leaves a rat trap for Edna. He leaves a letter for Edla, and more importantly, he leaves that stolen money to be returned to the old crofter. So he is behaving like the captain, he is behaving like a gentleman, because he was treated like a gentleman, even if by mistake. And he says the rat trap is a Christmas present from a rat who would have been caught in this world's rat trap if he had not been raised to captain. So he says Edla raised him to the position of a captain, and if she had not done that, he would have remained a rat, greedy to catch things, get tempted, and get caught in the world's rat trap. So he says, when you raised me to captain, you gave me the power to clear myself, and you gave me the power to not become trapped any longer.
Ma'am, if we think closely, then we can also find ourselves in such situations, in a present situation like a rat trap situation, where we are, trapped in our own thoughts, we are trapped in this materialistic world. And as you just said, when things are not good, we started doing bad things, and we became, a negative person. So what would you suggest to students, if their circumstances not in your favor and not in the favorable conditions, so how one should behave?
I speak about it often in my classes, and I'll say it here again today. Circumstances will not always be in our favor. That is what life is.
Yes.
But we should not allow that to, change us as who we are. While it's easier said than done, I think one key to not, get trapped in the rat trap of the world, to quote this lesson and to use this as context, is to remember that if your good days did not last, your bad days won't last also. Eventually, days will change and there'll be better days to see. So when you're having bitter experiences, as all of us do, we shouldn't lose hope, and we should not allow that to change us as people. I think that's very important.
Yes. So be a person you are. Don't change yourself in any condition or any situation.
Don't change yourself out of despair.
Yeah.
Don't feel अब तो कुछ नहीं हो सकता, because ऐसा नहीं होता है. There is always hope. There is always chances to there are always chances for things to get better. They do always get better.
Yes.
I don't know if I should say this here, but I recently came across a very nice quotation on the internet which I want to quote here.
Yeah.
बहुत सिंपल सी बात है, इतनी सिंपल कि ऐसा लगता है इसमें बताने वाली क्या बात है, लेकिन ये फैक्ट मुझे जब मैंने सुनी 2-3 बार तो मुझे लगा ये तो बहुत अच्छी बात है. तो किसी ने कहा कि मुझे मेरे किसी बड़े ने ये बात बताई कि ज़िंदगी में कुछ भी हो जाए ना बेटा तो कुछ नहीं होता.
Deeper meaning.
So, you know, have a positive outlook and कुछ भी हो जाए वो इतना बड़ा नहीं होता है कि for you to become bitter, you will grow through whatever you go through.
आपकी लाइफ से बड़ा कुछ भी नहीं है, ये लाइफ आपके पास है,
Exactly.
ये ब्लेसिंग है और
True.
इसके अकॉर्डिंगली we have to move.
Right.
Yeah.
So now this is on the screen. Now you see a gift box. This is the gift box. This is the gift that he left for Edla. Inside this, you know, was a rat trap, and then there were these 3 10 kroner bills, you know, badly folded, and he left them inside the rat trap for Edla to return to the old crofter. I want students to also take a closer look at this kroner bill and notice the differences that, you know, any differences that you can see from the Indian currency rupee note.
Yeah.
So, this is one. Now we have keywords.
Yeah. Blacksmith, forge, compassionate, and so we have 3 main keywords for today. And now ma'am will assign you homework, and what we have in today's homework?
I'll read and discuss these questions. So, the first is how does the rat trap seller interpret the acts of kindness shown by the old man, the ironmaster, and his daughter? Now, all 3 of these people have been very nice to him.
Yeah.
But the way he has interpreted it, we can see it in his letter at the end. You know, the old man, please return the money to the, he says, please return the money to the old man who has hanged a pouch of money on his window frame as a bait for poor wanderers. So he thinks that money or any comforts in the world, they are all a bait, you know, and if you get, you know, baited by them, then you are like this little rat that gets trapped.
Right.
So, how does he interpret the acts of kindness shown by the old man, the ironmaster, and his daughter? Then,
Okay, so
we have modified homework. He is not very warm towards how they are treating him. Why is that? Then, what are the words that come to your mind when you think of the characters of the ironmaster and his daughter? Draw 2 mind maps and see the differences between them. I feel this activity is especially good for children who are learning to write, you know, who are not fluent writers, who are not free writers. Drawing a mind map gives them a lot of vocabulary immediately, so that helps. So, you know, you could start with all the words that occur to you when you think of the ironmaster. You know, you could say that he's short-tempered, but you could also say that he's forgiving. You could say that he's warm. He's also friendly, you know. He sees an acquaintance and he picks him up and brings him to his home, you know.
Yeah.
So, he's also warm and friendly. Then, when you think about Edla, his daughter Edla, what are all the words that occur to you? So, she's compassionate, she's sharing, she's generous.
Yes.
She gives his father's suit in which he's dressed to the man, to the rat trap seller, as a Christmas present. So, she's also generous and she's kind.
yeah.
So, all the words that you can think of, draw mind maps and then see the differences between these 2 characters. And then if you are able to, you know, if you know, you can try to write it in the form of a paragraph. But a mind map is a very, you know, helpful way of starting.
Okay.
Then the third question that we have is, what made the rat trap seller finally change his ways? Think of the effect that kindness has on you and answer. So, once you relate it with yourself, it just becomes a little easier to answer.
Yes. So this is our homework for today. This is your homework for today, and you can submit this homework in this format. You can see the format. Homework submission format, name of the student, write your name, class, school name and address, your school name and address, then expert and teacher name, you can write Divya Gupta, and then date of the session, and then your photograph, and it is optional. If you want to place it, then you can do it, otherwise it is okay. And where you have to submit this homework, yes, you can see the mail ID flashing on your screen. This is dth.class12@ciet.nic.in. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us. And you explained this story in such a beautiful manner. I mean, this is really, and if I say the moral of these stories is, if you do, your good deeds can awaken goodness in anyone at any time.
That's
so
true.
we can keep doing it. We can keep doing our good deeds, and we can change any person.
We can, yes.
Yes. And thank you so much, Aniket, for joining us. Any message, ma'am, you want to give to your students now?
Like I said in the story while I was teaching, there will be bitter experiences in life. Don't allow them to change you. Allow them to make you grow and evolve, but don't allow them to make you bitter towards life. Life is, a combination of good and bad, of sweet and bitter. So allow yourself both and grow through whatever you go through.
And with this beautiful lines, I will wind up this session and thank you so much, ma'am and Aniket, for joining us. And before I leave, I have an announcement to make, and that is related to NCERT textbooks. And NCERT textbook for the session 2023 and 24 are available throughout the country, and you can directly purchase these books from the sales counters located at Guwahati, New Delhi, Bangalore, Kolkata and Ahmedabad. And these sales counter will be functional from 9:30 am to 6 pm. And if you want to order these textbooks, you can do that also. And for that, you need to visit our website ncertbooks.ncert.gov.in. And if you want the PDF version of these books, you can visit ePathshala, Diksha and NCERT website. And if you want to know more about our authorized vendors, please visit ncert.nic.in. With this, I'm Nupur Kulshresht signing off. Take care. Namaskar.